What's up? How you doing? I'm the Albeetross and I'm back, and today we're gonna go over my top 3 favorite what the F films of all time. So of course, to qualify for this top 3 list, at some point during each one of these films there has to be a moment that just makes you want to scream out, what the f-? And the cool thing about this list is that as crazy and as strange and even weird as these top 3 movies will be, each one of them in some way has a connection to an Academy Award winner. So without any further ado, here we go with the Albeetross's top 3 favorite what the F films of all time. Meet the Feebles! Meet the Feebles! Meet the Feebles. If you've never seen Meet the Feebles, then that might be either a blessing or a curse. What other movie exists on the planet Earth where you have a walrus cheating on a hippopotamus with a pussycat, or an elephant that has an illegitimate baby with the chicken? Meet the Feebles is a puppet satire of the Muppets that's brought to us by Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame. It's an adult-oriented take on the Muppet Show in a way that you've never seen before. You got a drug-addicted frog that suffers from post-traumatic stress syndrome, a nymphomaniac bunny who may or may not have bunny AIDS. You got a half elephant, half chicken baby. This is without a doubt one of the craziest movies I've ever seen in my life, and it's a movie that I love showing to friends. Most of them hate me for it. Some have never called me back, but that's okay, because I love movies that capture the imagination and transport you to a place you might not want to go, but for some people like me, once you get there, it's a mind trip and it's fun. This movie is without a doubt one of my guilty pleasures as far as cinematic experiences. Peter Jackson, this is one of his first movies, and it's without a doubt one of his craziest. You will never see anything on film like you're going to see in Meet the Feebles. So if you enjoy movies that offer mind trips, if you enjoy movies that you can take over a friend's house and trip them out, if you just enjoy movies that make no fucking sense at all, Meet the Feebles is for you. Meet the Feebles is a guilty pleasure of mine. Meet the Feebles is my number 3 favorite what the F film of all time. Ass to ass! Requiem for a Dream. Now, as effed up movies go, it's kind of hard to top this one. Requiem for a Dream stars Jared Leto, Jennifer Connelly, Ellen Bernstein, and Marlon Wayans in one of the most effed up movies you will ever see. It's definitely deserving of number 2 on my list of all time what the F moments, because this movie takes you on an emotional trip like none other. Now, Ellen Bernstein, who plays Jared Leto's mother in this movie, was nominated for an Academy Award for this film, and Jennifer Connelly went on to win Best Supporting Actress just a few years later for A Beautiful Mind. What we have with Requiem for a Dream is a complicated tale that submerges you inside the world of addiction. Ellen Bernstein's character, who becomes so obsessed with the chance that she might be able to appear on this show, on this game show, that she will do anything to regain her youthful exuberance so she can feel young and alive again, like she did in the photo that she keeps on her mantle of her in this beautiful red dress at her son's graduation. Definitely much happier times. Now, you talk about getting invested in characters. You care for Ellen Bernstein's character, and in some way, even though you know they're doing no good, you care for the younger characters played by Leto, Connelly, and Wayans. And so when hubris starts to take over, and when things really start to turn sour, you really are invested to the point that every single thing that happens, you're like, oh. And when things start to get bad, they get really bad. And the director holds no punches, so you get graphicness, you get explicitness, you get an uncomfortable look inside the world of an addict. You might not be comfortable with that. Some people might understand fully well what these characters are going through, but for me and a lot of people who never in real life experienced anything like that, to see how addiction can take you from one point in your life to another point in your life, Requiem for a Dream is without a doubt and justifiably so my number 2 favorite what the F movie of all time. Was there really ever any doubt that the movie that'd be number 1 on my list of all-time favorite what the F movies would have a character in it named Longinus? Caligula, starring Malcolm McDowell, Helen Mirren. Peter O'Toole, and John Gielgud. I'll tell you what, each and every one of those actors has either been nominated for an Academy Award or won an Academy Award. So that's top notch right there. Each of them in this movie gave a wonderful performance. You can say what you want about the film itself, but each one of their acting performances in this movie was wonderful. Now with that said, this is as fucked up as you gonna get in the movie. It's the true story of Caligula and his descent into madness shortly after taking on the mantle of Caesar. Anything you could think of that would make you go, what the F, in the movie is most likely in this film. Other than the obvious fact that it does feature explicit sex scenes thanks to Bob Guccione, the movie still is brazen, and it is full of moments that are not only jaw-dropping but also, for some people, mind-numbing. There's so much stuff in this movie, whether it's when Malcolm McDowell is breaking up weddings and taking brides to be on their wedding day for himself, even or the groom. But what sets it apart, like I said, is not only does it have all this gratuitousness to it and violence to it, but it has these great performances by these wonderful actors in what ultimately amounts to a top-notch B film. Caligula, I do love Caligula because I love movies that are out there, and I love movies that have an essence of craziness about them. And no, it's not going to be on AMC's all-time greatest films list, but this is a film that if you haven't seen it, or better yet, you have seen it and you know someone that hasn't seen it, you will pop it in and it will shock the living hell out of them. And that in itself is entertainment in itself, and that, people, is why I love movies. Helen Mirren plays Caligula's wife in this movie, and she is fine. And in the Imperial Edition, there's an R-rated version of the film that actually has commentary from Helen Mirren and Malcolm McDowell. And one particular story that comes to mind is Malcolm McDowell's giving the commentary with the director. He's like, I remember the day in the studio where we were watching the dailies. And while we were watching the dailies, we were looking at the screen, and all of a sudden everything just got big and brown and blurry. We couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. And then all of a sudden the camera pans back and we realize we've been staring at an up-close shot of Helen Mirren's butthole. You can't find A-list commentary like that anywhere else. So there you go, folks. That's my top 3 craziest what the F films of all time. Meet the Feebles, Requiem for a Dream, and Caligula. There you go. That's the truth. I'm the Albeetross. Catch you later. Peace. Ass to ass.